The U.S. Conference of Mayors this week decided to put their support behind the bipartisan infrastructure legislation that both Republicans and Democrats have been working on together in the U.S. Senate. And that one is a $1.2 trillion proposal, far less than the original Democratic proposal, but still, hefty chunk of change, a decent, though not great, investment in infrastructure here in the United States. So U.S. Conference of Mayors comes out this week. They put their support behind it. You also have an additional 369 mayors across all 50 states that have put their weight behind it. You have the AFL CIO that supports it. You have the U.S. Chamber of Commerce that supports it. So you've got uber liberal and uber conservative groups saying, yes, we support this legislation. Hell, even Joe Manchin, to a degree, and I'll get more to that in just a moment, likes the thing to a degree again. In fact, the only people, and by the way, before I forget, both Republicans and Democratic citizens in the United States overwhelmingly support the legislation, support investment in infrastructure. In fact, they even support the original Democratic-only proposal that was, almost $3 trillion. Even Republican citizens like that. So at this point, the only group that doesn't like this infrastructure package are the Republicans in the Senate. And I know what you're thinking, but Farron, you said this was bipartisan in the Senate, so clearly some Republicans support it, and isn't that enough? Actually, no. Because even the Republicans who worked on this legislation, have come out and said they're not going to support it, though. So they put their time and effort into it, worked real hard, came up with proposals, worked with Democrats and said, oh yes, I really, really like this. I do. This is great. We need it. Totally going to vote it down though, because I'm a partisan piece of crap. And that's what we do. We're Republicans. We don't have a brain. So I have to do what the rest of the party says. So even the ones who worked on it and came to agreements and said, yes, this is good, are still saying, but I ain't voting on it. So the whole country wants this. Mayors across the country want this because they know it means huge investments into their cities. Conservative groups want it. Liberal groups want it. It's just those damn 50 Republican senators in the U.S. Senate that are saying no. And of course, you need to add one Democrat to that, and that is Joe Manchin. As I mentioned, Joe Manchin supports the thing. But then he came out this past Tuesday and said, well, hold up again. Let me be my Joe Manchin-y self. Because I'm now only going to support it. I had originally said I'll support it if it has bipartisan support, which it does, but now I have another caveat because I'm king of the fucking United States. And that caveat is I'll only support it, this and the Democratic version that we want to do through reconciliation, if it is fully funded. Oh, but by the way, the funding mechanism you put in place to fully fund it, I still don't support that. So you have to come up with a different one. There is no working with Joe Manchin. You can't make this idiot happy. I keep saying Marco Rubio's the dumbest member of the Senate, but by God, Joe Manchin is trying to challenge him for that title because we had the funding mechanism in place for $3 trillion. And Joe Manchin said, nope, I don't like that funding mechanism. So they said, okay, we got these other funding mechanisms in place. We'll scale it down. How about now? And he says, no, now it's not fully funded. Now I don't support it. Oh, this porridge is too hot. This porridge is too cold. I don't know what to do. Joe Manchin needs to be kicked out of the party. The 50 Republican senators who continue to oppose this thing need to look at those public opinion polls and realize that their constituents not only support this, but desperately need it, because more than anything, this isn't just an infrastructure bill, this is a job-creating program. And that's what we need here in the United States. And by the way, those jobs it creates, the economic investment and revenue it creates, would actually fund it. So there's your funding mechanism, Joe Manchin. So what are you waiting for, Democrats? Pull the trigger on this legislation before the Republicans, together with Joe Manchin, destroy it even further. We need this here in the United States. We desperately need it. The public desperately wants it. Everybody is rooting for you on this. So make it happen.